Course Wrestling Network. This is Under the Radar. It is your boy ALW. I am solo today. No CM, which means we're not going to be talking about BTE this week. Um, I'm going to talk about MLW Impact and Ring of Honor. I'm going to do it probably fairly quickly here. Um, we're going to start with our uh, AL dub on ML dub as usual, as you guys are used to. Um, First, I'm going to talk about Slaughterhouse pay per view that was on the 14th. Um, it was a solid show. There were only four actual matches, five actual matches. I'm sorry. Um, and oh wait, one, two, three, four, five. I guess it was six matches. It felt like a short pay per view. It was only about 2 hours, which I like. It started off with the Chamber of Horrors match, the second gear crew, Mance Warner and Matthew Justice against the Callings, Cannonball and Talon. Um, a solid match, fun match. If you like, these death match style matches, this is right up your alley. I think this is a Chamber of Horrors. I think this is the first time that MLW has had a Chambers of Horror match. This is a Mance Warner special, and as you would expect, um, because it's a Mance Warner special and their stipulation, the second gear crew won. This has been an ongoing back and forth feud with the second gear and the calling. It's been fun. I enjoy it. I like Mance Warner. I like the calling. We don't see Raven all that much anymore. Even, he doesn't come to ringside. He doesn't do that kind of stuff. So I don't know if he's taken a little step back. But I'm here for the calling and second gear crease feud. So that was fun. Then we had a title match. Selena De La Renta has brought Rocky Romero now to um, MLW as part of her faction. And he had a world middleweight title match against Akira, who is also uh, MLW Tag Team Champions with Ricky Shane Page, the calling. So Akira put his belt on the line here, and Rocky Romero got the win. We've seen Rocky Romero everywhere. He's, as people on this channel would say, doing the Lord's work. He's everywhere. He's in GCW. He's in NJPW. He's, here in MLW. So he got the win here, bringing a belt to Serena De Laurentiis, or I forget what the name of her federation is or what she's calling her faction. I apologize for that. I should know that. But so now she has Rocky, who has a title, and Akira drops a title, which removes one of the titles from the calling. He is still one half of the World Tag Team Champions with Ricky Shane Page. So we'll see if that has any impact on um, the uh, the calling. I don't know. Ricky Shane Page is not super happy with um, Akira for losing, and you see that a little bit after this match. And so I just kind of wonder if this has some fallout for the calling. Um, then we had Selena De La Renta present um, an opponent for Delmi Exo for the Women's World Featherweight Championship. This was supposed to be Becca, but Becca's music contract wouldn't let her out to do the match. She had to get the album out before, and so X date, and so she could not wrestle in this match. So Selena De La Renta brought in Janai Kai for her debut in MLW, and her and Delmi Exo have a match, which is basically a squash. Janai Kai essentially just destroys Dummy Exo. I think it took all of about 5 minutes, and we had a new women's featherweight champion. And Selena De La Renta stands tall again in the ring. That's two matches in a row now where she's added titles to her stable. So she is, thriving at the moment in MLW. Her faction is growing by the minute. Uh, there's not much to talk about here other than the title change. I'm not totally sure why they did this here. I don't know. Domi Exo's only had the title for a little bit. She's only had, I think it's two title defenses before this. So, um, it felt like they were trying to push Becca into the spot, and I don't know if she's actually injured. I don't buy that she's an actual music star and that she has an actual, album that she has to do. And that's why she wasn't in this match. There's got to be some other reason. Um, but I'm wondering if the next match will be Janai Kai versus Becca, and Becca will probably get the win. Maybe not. Maybe they plan on leaving the belt on Kai for a while. Selena De La Renta's faction looks good, so maybe they want to leave them, with the belts. We'll see, I guess. Then we had a dream match of Minoru Suzuki versus Jacob Fatu. Uh, you know, Dream match. It is when you see it on paper. I love both of these guys. Both of these guys are probably in my, you know, top 10 favorite wrestlers of current favorite wrestlers right now. Um, Murder Grandpa has probably, other than Walter, maybe the stiffest chops in wrestling. Or slaps, open-handed slaps, chops over the against the chest. And Fatu is a beast as well. So these two going at it, it was definitely, Suzuki's not a big man, but it's kind of big man slapping meat a little bit. And so um, this is a heavy striking match. Lots of big slaps, lots of big chops. It didn't go very long. It never really got into second gear per se, but that doesn't mean it was a bad match. Um, I think that Minoru Suzuki has a little bit more speed and agility, even at his age, than maybe Fatu does, which is saying a lot because Fatu is extremely athletic. But they never really got to that. It was really just slapping and big slams, and Minoru Suzuki got the win over Jacob Fatu, which kind of surprised me. Fatu is, along with um, Hammerstone, who's been gone for a while, but now really Alex Kane. They're the faces of MLW. So I was surprised to see Jacob Fatu lose here. I don't know what Fatu's contract looks like. I really hope Fatu ends up somewhere else, either in the Fed or in AEW, even Ring of Honor. I'm here for that. I just want to see him do something different. Then we had the MLW National Openweight Falls Count Anywhere match between Ricky Shane Page, who's the champion of the Calling, versus the one called Manders. Um, this was a fun match. Ricky Shane Page is a big guy who likes to lay in a lot of brutality on his opponents. Manders is always game for a fight. He's one of those um, cowboy up kind of guys. So he's ready to fight all the time. He's tough as a $2 steak in the words of Jr. And This is exactly what you expect it to be in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Page retains. They fought all through the crowd. They fought all through the back. Um, they at one point they the cameras wouldn't follow according to Matt Striker. Matt Striker said the cameras are too scared to follow them backstage. And then we had the women's actual match, and then they went back to this. Eventually, they caught it backstage again, and eventually Ricky Shane Page got the win. So it's fun. They retained that title, so Ricky Shane Page is still the national openweight title or national openweight champion, as well as MLW Tag Team Champions with Akira. So Ricky Shane Page, got his job done. Akira didn't. I think there's a little bit of dissension there. We'll see if Akira's long for the calling or not. Maybe Raven will come along and have a meeting with them or something. We then had the main event, which was the world heavyweight title match between Alex Kane and Filthy Tom Lawler. This was supposed to be um, Davey Boy Smith, but apparently he had to have his appendix removed at the last second. Got appendicitis, I suppose, and had to go to the have emergency surgery to remove his appendix. And as a result, they asked Tom Lawler to step in and face um, Alex Kane for the title. It was a good match. Tom Lawler is an MLW veteran. He's been there for a long time. Off and on, back and forth. Um, that's where I really became familiar with Tom Lawler. I'm a huge fan. Um, I think he's fun. He's very charismatic. He's a very solid wrestler. He's a great technical wrestler. I'd like to see him, with Brian Danielson or against Brian Danielson or Zack Sabre Jr. Some of these more technical guys, I think it would be fun. Um, But this match, Alex Kane defeated Tom Lawler, as you would assume he would. This is Alex Kane's second title defense, and third title defense. So he's going to win. He's going to hold this belt for a while. I think MLW is big on Alex Kane as they should be. He's a superstar. He's destined for a bigger and brighter stage too somewhere. Ring of Honor, MLW, Impact, the Fed. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a gaijin in New Japan. He wrestles a style that I think would work well with strong style wrestling. So I could see that. I wouldn't be opposed to that. So this was an okay pay per view. When I was watching it, I thought, this isn't as good. I went back and watched it a second time. I'll give it 3 out of 5 stars. This match was good, and Suzuki versus Fatu was good. Chamber of Horrors match, if you're into that, was good. Go back and watch it. But it's not a must see pay per view. None of these matches were must see matches. Um, so that was Slaughterhouse on Sunday or Saturday, October 14th. Then on Thursday, the 19th, we had MLW Fusion 187, which is basically the fallout show from um, Slaughterhouse and picking up into what I believe is going to be the next pay per view. They haven't announced that yet, but um, it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do in the next pay per view. These last two, Fury Road and Slaughterhouse, have been good. I mean, I like them on Fight. They could be better. They could let these guys wrestle a little bit more, let the matches breathe a little bit more, let some of these really good wrestlers um, wrestle some more, have a little more time in their matches. But it is what it is, and it's fun. It's different than some of the other stuff that I watch, so I kind of like it. The contrast gives me some variety. But MLW Fusion 187 opened with Ichiban getting a win over Love Doug, which lines Ichiban up for a shot at the middleweight title. So we'll see what that looks like. It will be. It will be. Hold on for just a second. Geez Louise. Let's see. Um, yeah, and so um, after the match, Love Doug got a letter from Becca's dancers that says smooches from Becca. So, needless to say, he was happy despite losing the match. Ishiban has had about 4 matches now, 4 or 5 matches now, and he's, I think, undefeated so far since debuting in MLW. So, they're definitely pushing him. Um, and, it'll be interesting to see if he wins the MLW Middleweight Championship. Uh, we then had um, Midas Black come out and introduce himself in the main event, and they had a match against the Bumaye Fight Club, Mr. Thomas and Bougie, Jay Bougie. They ultimately got the win over the main event. The main event is, they're basically a jobber tag team. They're kind of fun. They're supposed to be like a circus. Midas Black is like the ringleader, and Jay Lion is literally kind of like a lion that he works with. He's got a mane and everything, hence the main event, MANE. So they're jobbers for the most part in MLW, and they basically jobbed here to the Boombai Fight Club. Then we had Mr. Saint Laurent, or we had Tom Lawler, who actually announced that he's back in MLW and he's part of the World Titan Federation. Mr. Saint Laurent now has several people. He's got Schnitzky, he's got Davey Boy Smith, he's now got Tom Lawler, and he's got Matt Cardona. So Matt Cardona has made his way into MLW, and is wants obviously he wants a shot at Alex Kane for the championship, um, as does everybody. Um, we also had Tony Deppen and TJ Crawford backstage talking about how they took out Kevin Blackwood, kind of furthering this story. TJ Crawford and Tony Deppen are definitely heels that are enjoying beating up guys. and that they wanted to do more of that. Then it was announced that Dombrowski, the president of MLW, has suspended Tony Deppen for his actions beating up Kevin Blackwood. So I guess we'll see what ends up coming from them. Um, we had Mr. Saint Laurent was interviewed, and he spoke and said that uh, Matt Cardona was going to send one called Manders back to the trailer park. Um, and I wouldn't say that happens. Matt Cardona did get the win in the main event of MLW Fusion 187. Um, it was only 5 minutes and 32 seconds, but it felt longer than that, and the match was better than that. That would imply that it wasn't a very good match. And I disagree. I thought it was a good match for what it is. Manders is a really good wrestler. I enjoy Manders a lot. I'm not a Matt Cardona fan. I thought he won way too fast here. I didn't like the shenanigans that kind of take place. Manders pushed the ref out of the way, then Cardona poked him in the eye while the ref was facing the other way. Essentially cheated and then hit him with the famous leg lariat, as he calls it, to get the pin. Um, Matt Cardona is on MLW, which definitely gives it some cachet. It raises its profile a little bit because he's doing big things on the independent scene. I'm not a big fan. I don't want to see him beat Alex Kane anytime soon. I'd rather see Alex Kane as a champion, but I guess we'll just have to see what ends up happening. So that's the end of ALW on MLW. Next, I'm going to review Impact Wrestling real quick from last night. Um, let's see. We had the show open with Kylan King defeating Jody Threat in the dark match, um, or the pre-match that takes place on YouTube. It was an okay match. I like both Jody Threat and Kylan King. I think Kylan King's a little bit more of a talent, but Jody Threat's definitely trying to make herself known. She's had a few good wins, and I'm interested to see what both of them can do in probably the best booked women's division in wrestling. So, um, hold on for just a second. Then we had the opening match, which was Mike Bailey versus Samurai Del Sol. Uh, it was a fun match. Mike Bailey got the win with the ultimate weapon. And I don't have anything bad to say about this match. Bailey is a very good wrestler. Bailey um, deserves all the flowers that he gets. He's facing Will Ospreay at Bound for Glory, and this is the go home show for Bound for Glory. So he had a good showing here. Him versus Will Ospreay is going to be an amazing match at Bound for Glory. I cannot wait to see that. Both men are extremely talented, and it should be a lot of fun. I assume Ospreay gets the win there, but Ospreay's not really the Impact talent, and Bailey kind of is. So we'll see. Either way, it should be a match of the year candidate on paper. So we then had let's see. Dirty Dango was backstage with Oleg and Alpha Bravo. They talked some shit about the Flying Elvises, um, and just some weird stuff about past WCW stuff and how the dancing gimmick is doesn't get over. Or he asked how a dancing gimmick could get over. This was weird. I'm not totally sure what to make of all this. Dango, Dirty Dango, is on kind of a weird trajectory. I'm not sure exactly what they're planning on doing with him. I don't know if he's going to be with Oleg Proteus and Alpha Bravo. I'm not sure if they're going to be some sort of a faction or whatever. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Then ABC was backstage and they claimed that the Rascals were using um, the, the 5Ds, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge again, so that they could try to avoid a match with them, but that they couldn't run because they get their match at Bound for Glory, where we will see ABC versus the Rascals, where the ABC is going to cash in their title shot. Then we had a match where we had Kenny King versus Heath, who has kids. I guess he's not really using that much anymore. But Kenny King got the win here. He has Sheldon Jean in his corner. They're continuing to, keep these two together. I thought this was an okay match. Um, you know, it, Shelton Jean interfered a couple times, and there was some shenanigans to get Kenny King to win. Kenny King and Shelton Jean are definitely the heels here. Heath is supposed to be the baby face. Him and Rhino have been baby faces for a while, and he's got kids in the crowd who likes him, and he's over. But he's for all intents and purposes is kind of a jobber. And Kenny King hit the pin. He got the royal flush for the win. So um, we then had Kazarian backstage talking about his match last week with Eddie Edwards, 2 out of 3 falls, and how he won, and that even though he won, he doesn't hate Eddie, that they need to come together, that together they should take Impact Wrestling to new heights. And we'll see, I guess, what Eddie has to say to that. We then had Crazy Steve and versus Black Taurus in a no DQ match. This was fallout because Crazy Steve has basically turned his back on Decay and separated himself. Um, and I thought this match very well could have been match of the show. I thought it was really good. Steve is a solid wrestler, and Black Taurus is really good. Um, both of these guys hit a lot of big moves. It was very fun. They had chairs in the ring. Um, they got they both took chairs. They both took some big shots. Um, as it turned out, um, uh, Crazy Steve gets the win with the Belladonna kiss for the pinfall. But it wasn't before he smashed. He put the briefcase on Taurus's face and throat. Um, to help him get the win. Crazy Steve is definitely being pushed. I like the new Crazy Steve. I like the storyline. I think it works well. Him separating himself from the Decay. I guess we'll see what's going on with the Decay long term. But I like not the new Crazy Steve, but kind of the. He's definitely different than he was with Decay or has been before, and at the same time still remaining that Crazy Steve character. So I'm kind of interested to see if him and Taurus have another match again. This one worked really well. They have good chemistry together, so I wouldn't be opposed to it. Um, I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see what's in store for Crazy Steve. Um, we got different people talking about how they're going to win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. So, which is essentially, if you win the gauntlet, you get a shot. You get to call your shot. It's kind of i.e. Money in the Bank, or when you're in the Royal Rumble, you get a shot at the title. So it's that concept. Then we had Gia Miller backstage with Mickey James and Trinity talking about their match against Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans tonight, um, and that they could work together despite them having a match coming up Bound for Glory, James versus for the Women's Knockout Championship, which should be an amazing match on paper. Could be maybe one of the best matches of the show. Bound for Glory looks really good at the moment, so I'm excited for that this Saturday. Please join us this Saturday on Workhorse Wrestling Network. We will be doing Collision Watch Along. We'll be watching Bound for Glory as well as Battle of the Belts. So join us for all 3 shows. It should be Sammy Joe and Anika. Um, so please tune in for that. We know you got a lot of options for your watch along, so we appreciate you choosing us. Um, then we had. Sorry, I got my things out of line here. So we had the most professional wrestling gods, Brian Myers and Moose, face PCO and Rhino. The Moose and Brian Myers got the win here. I don't have much to say here. This I don't. This doesn't do this for me. I mean, doesn't do it for me. I don't like PCO. I'm cooling down on Moose. I don't like Brian Myers. I've never liked Rhino. So 3 out of the 4 guys here, I don't really care for, don't really care about. I thought Moose would be better in his career than he is now. It's like he still needs work, and he's been around for a long time. So I'm not totally sure um, what that's about. Maybe it will never quite click for him. I'm not totally sure. Um, this is exactly what you expected it to be. Hard hitting. Moose and Rhino went at it. PCO and Myers go at it. Everything that you could think of. Um, PCO hit the cannonball um, on Macklin on the outside of the ring, but then came back in the ring uh, to. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. PCO. Okay, that's right. PCO. Macklin came down and got involved. Um, to further the storyline, he wants, a title shot, and he's been involved in this PCO and Rhino deal. He wants Bully to join him and help him take out PCO and Rhino. Bully hasn't been into that. Macklin came down here and smashed Rhino into the ring post. He went on to hit a move on Rhino, but Bully Ray came down and made the save so that he couldn't hit the move on Rhino, which pissed Macklin off. PCO did a cannonball onto Macklin, but then ate a spear in the ring from Moose for the win. Moose and Brian Myers got the win here. Um, I okay. Macklin wants whatchamacallit to, be Bully on his side to help take out PCO and Rhino. Bully Ray is not doing that. He doesn't want any more beef with PCO. He says, "The man came back from the dead, and I don't want to mess with it anymore." I think he just wants to kind of go on his way. Bully Ray wants to win the gauntlet so that he can have a title shot against whoever the champion will be after Bound for Glory. So, um, yeah, I don't, this storyline, I don't really, doesn't really do much for me. I'm not a big fan of it one way or the other. Um, we had MK Ultra with a promo, and they are wrestling Deonna Purrazzo and Tasha Steelz at Bound for Glory for the titles. And MK Ultra, it was kind of a both Russian and English promo. I thought it came off well. I like MK Ultra. So they'll be defending their titles against Deonna Purrazzo and Tasha Steelz at Bound for Glory. Another good match on the Bound for Glory card. Then we got a hype video of Will Ospreay and Mike Bailey, which was really good. Um, I'm very excited um, for Bailey and Ospreay. We'll have to see if they have the chemistry that I'm assuming that they will have, and that it's a match that I'm assuming that it will be. Um, let's see. Uh, then we had Scott D'Amore. Um, did a pre-taped interview with Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander to talk about their match at pay-per-view or at Bound for Glory, which should be amazing. Um, both of them went kind of back and forth with ultimately Shelley kind of appearing to get pissed off. Well, he did get pissed off and left. And it appears that Shelley, Alexander called him a transitional champion, and Shelley didn't like that. That's what caused him to storm off. But the whole time, Josh Alexander looked like the calm one in control, where Alex Shelley looked like the guy that was spiraling down. I'm assuming that Josh Alexander is going to win at Bound for Glory. I've liked this Alex Shelley title run, but Josh Alexander is the face of that company, and he needs to be the title holder. He's probably the best wrestler on the roster, which is saying a lot because they have a lot of good guys there. But he should be the title holder, I believe, and I think he's going to win at Bound for Glory. Then we had a match to this is the go home show for Bound for Glory, so we get a tag team match with the two combatants, Trinity and Mickey James. We're going to face each other for Trinity's title, the Knockout Championship, against Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans. Um, Trinity and Mickey James get the win here. As well they should. They're the faces. They're going to get the win here. I I guess you could have had Shaw and Evans get the win here to maybe um, have some more tension between Trinity and Mickey James if one of them had taken the pin and the other blamed them. But they're both solid faces that aren't really going to act that way. So, and they've decided to put their friends and the match of Bound for Glory is just two friends, two competitors having a match for a title, and that. They're really friends, and as a result, they have actual chemistry and they like each other, and so they're going to beat Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans, which they did here. So, um, at the end of the match, Mickey James and Trinity shook hands, but Trinity didn't let, or I'm sorry, James kind of did the old, hold the hand and pull you in, not let you go, um, to prove that she's a viable contender and that she's going to beat Trinity. Just don't forget who I am, essentially. Yeah, we just won a match. Yeah, we're friends, but on Saturday we're fighting for the title at Bound for Glory. So that was the end of Impact this week. I thought it was a good show. Um, for a go home show, I thought it was solid. It did a lot to hype Bound for Glory, which is going to be a fun show. We have MK Ultra versus Tasha Steelz and Deanna Peraza for the World Knockout Tag Team Championships at Bound for Glory. We'll get Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey at Bound for Glory, and we will get um, the Rascals versus ABCs. The Rascals defending their Impact World Tag Team Championships at Bound for Glory. So on paper, we'll have the Collier Shot Gauntlet as well. We get Monsters Ball, Moose versus PCO versus Rhino versus Steve Macklin, which, if you're familiar with Impact and Monsters Ball, it's fun. It should be an interesting match. I don't really care because I don't really like any of these guys but Steve Macklin, but it'll be fun nonetheless. We'll get the X Division Championship, Chris Sabin defending against Kenta, which should be a really fun match. We'll have to see which Kenta we get. If we get the Kenta that we all know and love, where he's brutal and actually is working fast, and looks like the Kenta that um, before Excursion or from 2015, as opposed to the one who's been kind of toiling around in New Japan for the last year or so. The one before he was uh, Hideo Itami in WWE. And then we'll have the World's Knockout or the Knockouts World Championship. Trinity, the champion, defending against Mickey James. Bound for Glory should be a very solid pay per view. I'm excited for it. I think Trinity's going to get the win. I think she's there right now. She's their biggest star, and they need to leave the belt on her. So, let's see. Next, we had Ring of Honor TV, um, which was a good show this week. I thought we had Sean Dean defeated Pretty Peter Avalon, who came out with Ryan Nemeth. And reminded us that the wingmen are still a thing, I guess, because they announced him as being of the being the wingmen, Peter Avalon of the wingmen. So I'm curious to see if Nick Nemeth is going to show up and him and Ryan are going to do anything. I guess he has a no compete clause that should be expiring somewhat soon here. So we'll see if he shows up in Ring of Honor or on AEW with his brother. Sean Dean of the Infantry got the win here. Um, so yeah, I like seeing Sean Dean get the win. I'm a huge fan of the Infantry, so I'm here for all that. We had Gravity versus Angelico, which was one of my favorite matches of the night. This one and Commander versus Metalik were my two favorite matches this episode of Ring of Honor. Uh, God, Angelico is so talented. Me and CM talked about it last week on here. If they just gave him a platform and a chance to shine, man. And Gravity's looking better. He's growing on me. This was a good match. I was a little disappointed that Angelico lost, but I think Gravity's the guy they're trying to push a little bit more here. I'm not totally sure why they don't push Angelico, but I guess it is what it is. We had Tony Nese with Mark Sterling, who defeated Ethan Page, which surprised me. I kind of, Tony Nese has been doing this, you know, uh, let me train the crowd thing. which I'm not sure that that gimmick works great for him. I don't think that he's getting over anymore by using that gimmick. Um, but at the same time, he's been on a winning streak and he's getting pushed on Ring of Honor, which is great because Tony Nese is an amazing uh, wrestler. I think he can talk and wrestle. He's very technical. He's a good high flyer when he wants to be. Um, he's a strong grappler as well as a big striker. So I'm here for it. I did think Ethan Page was going to get this win, mostly because Tony Nese is just on such a heel run at the moment, and Ethan Page is kind of rebuilding himself as a babyface here after getting away from um, Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy and all that Hardy family office stuff where he was going back and forth with them, and he had Matt's contract and Matt had his contract, so he's separated himself from all of that. Now he's a face again. The crowd loves all ego Ethan Page, but he took the loss here, so I was a little surprised about that. But you know, I guess we'll see what ends up happening with Ethan Page on Ring of Honor. Uh, Josh Woods defeated Pat Buck in a solid, pure rules match. Pat Buck isn't really a pure rules wrestler, which the commentators make very clear, and that this is Josh Woods' wheelhouse and where he's really special. So Woods gets the win, and Woods is special. Woods should be beating Pat Buck in pure rules matches. Josh Woods is a beast. He should be wrestling Shibata for that title. And yeah, I mean, I like Josh Woods a lot, so I can't say enough about Josh Woods. We had some minion and training stuff going on behind the scenes before this match, where Lexi Nair and Billy Stark were backstage, and Athena was giving him some training tips. And then Billy Starks came out and beat Diamante, which is a big win for Billy Starks. I'm surprised here that Billy Starks got the win. Diamante is a decorated veteran who I thought it seemed like they were kind of pushing her and Mercedes Martinez as a tag team together. Here they wrestled tonight separately, um, and Diamante took the loss here to Billy Starks, who I guess because she's with Athena, who's the Ring of Honor champion, she's getting a little bit of a push, and got the win here. So I enjoyed it. We had Maria Kanellis was backstage. Cole Carter and Griff Garrison are her boys. Cole Carter gave her I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to remember if it was a card or a gift. He gave her something, and she was appreciative of it, but basically said, "You guys got to focus on your match." So Cole Carter and Griff Garrison had a match against the young goat Myron Reed and Ren Jones, who I'm not familiar with. Um, but Cole Carter and Griff Garrison got the win here. I'm a big Myron Reed fan. He was a mainstay on MLW for a while now. He's been in Impact. I think this is his second or third match in Impact. I think he's lost both of them. If this is his second match, he's lost both. There might have been a third where he won, but I think he's lost two matches now, which I'm not totally sure why. Um, I guess Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, because they're with Maria, are getting the push here. They're kind of the guys that Ring of Honor likes here more than Myron Reed and Ren Jones. Again, not familiar with Ren Jones, but I think Myron Reed deserves better than losing to Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening with Myron Reed. I'm not a big fan of Cole Carter. Cole Carter's kind of a cookie cutter guy. Griff Garrison, I like him better, but I liked him better when he was with Brian Pillman Jr. and they were the Varsity Blondes. Um, but I don't know. I guess we'll end up seeing what ends up happening with Maria and them. I do like Maria, so I can't complain too much about that. We had Kiera Hogan versus Allison Kay. And I don't see it here, but we did also have Marty Bell also wrestled and took a loss. So both sides of the Hex, Marty Bell and Allison Kay, who are now in Ring of Honor doing single stuff, I guess, um, both took L's tonight. Kiera Hogan defeated Allison Kay here in a solid match. I was not surprised to see Kiera Hogan get the win here because she's kind of, on a level above Allison Kay in the pecking order of Ring of Honor / AEW. or AEW slash Ring of Honor. She's been there longer. She's put in more work. She's had some big wins. She was a baddie with Jade, those kind of things. So, um, but Allison Kay is a really decorated veteran, and I'm surprised that they're bringing her in to lose. I would love to see the Hex, Marty Bell, and Allison Kay as a tag team in the Women's Ring of Honor tag division, if there is one. But needless to say, Allison Kay took the loss here, which I was disappointed in, but I like Kiera Hogan too. So, yeah. Then we had the Righteous defeat Kevin Matthews and Rod Lee in a match that was definitely a squash. This is really just about the Righteous. The Righteous, is pulling all the strings. They say that Duchess says, or Vincent says that you think MJF is the devil, but you're missing the point. So I guess the Righteous are supposed to be the bad guys here. They want people to believe that they're the puppet masters pulling all the strings. So, um, it was all right. Um, Lady Frost defeated Zoe Lynn. Zoe Lynn looked like she was, 18 or 19. This might have been her first match in Impact. We know what Lady Frost does. Um, Lady Frost beat her pretty handily. I think this match went about 5 minutes. Zoe Lynn had a couple pieces of offense and looked pretty good for her initial debut on Ring of Honor television. But Lady Frost got the win as she should. And yeah, I thought that was fun. Um, we then had the Gates of Agony in a triple threat tag team match against the Workhorsemen and Action Andretti and Darius Martin. Ultimately, the Gates of Agony got the win here. Um, you know, I I like the Workhorsemen and I like Action Andretti and Darius Martin. I want Dante to come back. I want Top Flight to be a thing again and to get real run at the AEW tag titles. I want to see them versus the Young Bucks, versus the Lucha Bros, versus Best Friends, versus MJF and Cole. All these tag teams that are at the top of the tag team pack in AEW is where I'd like to see these guys. Um, the Workhorsemen deserve more than to be losing on Ring of Honor, but Gates of Agony are solid, right? And Mogul Embassy is fun, and Prince Nana is not taking a lot of L's right now, and the Gates of Agony seem like those guys. I'm not totally sure why they're not also in the big AEW tag team picture. I know you got to have some guys in the Ring of Honor picture, so I get it, but they seem like those guys that would be challenging some of those teams I just mentioned for AEW World Tag Team Championships. So, you know, um, solid match. They got the win, and it was fun. Then to end the show, we had Commander and Metalik. I believe it was the main event of the show. Maybe not. Maybe I've gone backwards. Nonetheless, this and Gravity versus whatchamacallit, Gravity versus Angelico were my two favorite matches of this Ring of Honor episode. Commander and Metalik both went at it really good. They're both high flyers, super good luchadors. They call Metalik the what do they call him? The king of the ropes, which I thought was interesting because that's kind of Commander's deal as well. Commander is kind of a rope walk guy and a rope guy where he does all these super things on the ropes. Um, but Commander got the win here, which it could have gone either way. I don't think either one of these guys. I think they're both in about the right spot on Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor is a good place for both of them. I'd like to see Ring of Honor have a really nice kind of lucha division, and they're getting up there. They've got Angelico, they've got Gravity, they've got Commander, they've got Metalik, they've got some other high flyers floating around that they could bring into. Um, and so, I'm here for that. I really enjoyed this match. Commander had a good rope walk at one point. Metalik did his thing on the ropes. This is one of those kind of spot fest matches. So if you're into a lot of good rope work, a lot of good, flips and jumps and those kind of things, this is your kind of match. This week was a solid week. I think it had maybe one or two matches too many, but it didn't have as many as last week, so that's good. I thought it was a solid episode of Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor is doing well. I think he books Ring of Honor better a lot of times than he books Rampage or Collision. It feels like Dynamite is definitely the best show best AEW show. And Ring of Honor TV seems to be the best show second behind that as far as under the AEW umbrella. So at least in my opinion. So yeah, so I droned on long enough. I will go ahead and play our Workhorse Wrestling Network connection or commercial, uh, brought to you by Dolores of Workhorse Wrestling Network, our great producer and contributor. And so, you want to hear it? Here it goes.
Hey everybody, this is the Workhouse Wrestling Network schedule for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, Mondays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, you have entered the square circle at 11 a.m. Let me tell you, Sammy and ALW, they battling it out to see who will be the Enter the Square Circle champion. Listen, you can't miss an episode. It is riveting. Okay? So just a little secret. Tune in 11 a.m. on Monday. Tuesday is Seeing Stars 10:30 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. But ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm about to break your heart. We're taking a break because your girl needs some rest. Okay? But when we come back, it's gonna be fire because we're gonna be seeing these stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling and GCW and Stardom. You ain't gonna want to miss that either. But then the real party started at 10:30 at night on Tuesday on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at the Cookout, where they play fire games and talk hot topics and have a good time. You're gonna have to pull you up a seat because we're gonna feed you real good. Ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesdays, all four night at 11:30 p.m. That's where you're gonna find the WWE meet, okay? It is going to be Raw and NXT with Sammy and ALW, and they preview WWE pay-per-views. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, Thursday is live aftermath of Dynamite at 10:15 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Listen, we talk all things AEW, Rampage, Collision, the Dynamite from the day before. We preview shows coming up. We preview pay-per-views coming up. That is your one-stop shop for AEW. If you want to find out what happened, tune in at 10:15. Then on Friday, that's when the party starts for the weekend. Friday Night Fights at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Starting off at 8 p.m. with WWE SmackDown. And you're going to get the SmackDown from Anika and Sammy, I tell you. But then our parents, one of the parents, CM and ALW, going to come in and they just going to rampage everywhere. So you got to see it, okay? But then you wake up Saturday morning, and you know what you're gonna get? Under the radar with CM and ALW. And you know what you're gonna find? BTE, Impact, ROH, all these great things on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at 11 a.m. Okay? If you missed out on the week, they'll catch you up. And it ain't gonna take forever either. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday night, it's Saturday Night is All Right at 8 p.m. when we watch AEW Collision. Ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be great. We have a great time. That's generally when we all come back together again and have a good time on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday's supposed to be our day off. But you know, if it's a pay-per-view, it's a Workhouse Wrestling Network. So make sure you tune in. If there's a pay-per-view on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will be there. Ladies and gentlemen, you see this icon, YouTube audio, you can listen to us live, play hot games, talk hot topics. Just be great, okay? Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you see this icon on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, click it the next day and you can listen all to the party we had the day before. Ladies and gentlemen, also, last but not least, if you see this on YouTube audio, click it, okay? Because you know what you're gonna get? You get to listen to us watch along live to pay-per-views and shows and have a good time, okay? Because we dropping gems. You got Sammy with the food. CM with the knowledge, Anika with the good hard movies and work, and you got ALW, who he just drops old school wisdom. Okay? So make sure you join us. Until then, I want to let you know, peace.
All right. Thank you, Dolores, for our Workhorse Wrestling commercial. We provided you all with our schedule. If you're watching the show and you're new to Workhorse Wrestling Network, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified. So be notified every time we drop new content. And until next time, peace.